So now that I've played a ton of Peak of Combat, and I mean a ton, I think it's about time I give my honest thoughts about it, as I never properly gave my thoughts in previous videos. So we will be talking about the good, the bad, and everything. So let's go. So before we get into it, I want to say, as a guy that doesn't play mobile games very much, this is probably the best mobile game I ever played. Alright, so I think we should start off with the meat of Devil May Cry, the gameplay. There was a lot of controversy about the reworked combat system, with it being less Devil May Cry and more Genshin Impact, but I can't really compare it to the old version as I never played the previous betas, nor Genshin Impact. But I am happy to report that, in my opinion, the gameplay is a ton of fun. It is a good bit different from the standard Devil May Cry gameplay, but it's still really fun. So you can equip up to 3 characters and then swap between them mid-combo to make even longer combos. Each character has a decent enough moveset for a mobile game, which is good. Devil Hunter Dante, for example, has 2 ground combos, a Stinger, Launch Attack, Aerial Rave, Air Stinger, Helm Breaker, Devil Trigger, and a Dash. So you can already make up combos with that. The mid combo you can call, let's say, Legendary Ronin Virgil, and continue your combo Judgment Cut End, etc. So you can do some decent stuff. Also, if you time the character change properly, then you are able to do a powerful start attack where it does a ton of damage, which I think is pretty cool. The parrying is very interesting, where you have to jump and then attack to parry, which is odd for a Devil May Cry, but it looks cool, so yeah. And it also works for this game. There's a total of 12 characters in the game, 4 Dantes, 4 Virgils, 2 Neros, and 2 ladies. I have 9 so far at this moment, but each of them have their own moveset, with each character changing up the gameplay a good bit, which changes the moves up a good bit. Now I do have a problem with it. You cannot use guns properly. Sure, Nero has a special where you can use Charge Shot, but that's it. You can't use Ebony and Ivory at all. Charge Shot you can only do if it's recharged. You can't use the Blue Rose properly. Lady is the only one that constantly uses guns. Like duh. So yeah, for the most part I enjoyed the combat. I think it's really fun and it's really good for a mobile game especially. I just wished you were allowed to use guns more. Next up, we will talk about the story, which is a bit tough to talk about because it is hard to keep track of the story. Not because it's complicated or anything, but because after each chapter you have to reach a certain level to move on to the next chapter, which I'm not sure how to feel about, but hey, more gameplay, which I already said is very fun and enjoyable. But now, on to the story. Without spoilers, basically Dante gets hired for a job, in which then it basically evolves into a bigger job where Dante and Lady meet a bunch of new people to help them out in their adventure, taking them to a bunch of different locations. I didn't finish the story yet because of the whole level up to progress thing, but the story is okay so far. It's not the greatest ever in Devil May Cry, but I'd say it's fine, like, it's okay. You get a lot of info from the barman that helps progress the story, which is a bit too convenient, but there isn't a bad twist in there too. It just happens with a character we know nothing about. But like I said, I do have a hard time keeping track, as every chapter you gotta get to a certain level to progress. So sometimes I have to watch the previous cutscene on YouTube or something. In some missions you have to also use gyro blades. You might recognize them from Devil May Cry 4. You gotta place them somewhere or destroy something with them. And oh my god, they are so clunky. They are so clunky to use in this game. Like, they're beyond frustration. You hit the thing right in the center, right? It's gonna go off to the side anyway. It's so frustrating to use them. And the level design is mostly great too. Chapter 6 is the only one I didn't like so far though. Like, there was a part where you enter a room and then you got 3 doors, and if you enter the wrong door you go back to the first room and you have to start over. Like usually in other Devil May Cries you gotta go the opposite way of your shadows, but here I think you are meant to follow a trail on the floor. Voice correct? You gotta follow a trail on the floor. Problem is the trail wasn't there half the time, and then when I went through a bunch of doors, that portal opened up to enter to leave that place, and I was very confused. But other than that mission, the levels are great so far, and the story is fine. Alright, next we will talk about the content in the game. So there's a lot of content in the game that rewards a good ton of rewards, including XP to progress the story or level up your characters, and most of the content is really entertaining. For starters, there's a Bloody Palace. If you played, well, basically any Devil May Cry, you know what that is. Here though, every mission is 5 stages, so that's a bit different, but still works the same otherwise. Then you can also play slots in which you can earn cards and also get a short level to do that rewards you. Which, in fairness, the slots are kind of boring because all you do is spin in and fight like 4 demons in a room. Then you can also do requests, which is basically a day in the life of Dante, in which twice a day you get a request from a random person to do a devil hunting job for them. They are very simple, like kill a demon, protect the cargo, but they are very rewarding. They give a ton of XP. Then Secret Archive, which is basically a race, which is fun, I gotta say. There are also different type of currencies like red orbs, which you earn by just playing or completing weekly or daily or special challenges. And then there are gems, which you can buy with real money, but also earn them really easily. In Secret Archive, for example. And then there's also another mode called Spiritual Challenge, in which you fight a boss, and for the first clear you earn 100 gems and a bunch of character points to upgrade your characters. More on that later. And then there are tutorials, resource missions, which give out gems. Those are pretty good too. Then Memory Corridor allows you to replay previous missions, specifically the fights, which gives a ton of XP and orbs too, and they are a ton of fun, like if you want to replay some of the previous fights and previous missions. Chaos Crisis, which lets you team up with other players to team up on a boss. And Sky Arena, which is PvP, which is something new and really cool for Devil May Cry. And there is a bunch more. But the problem with Sky Arena and Chaos Crisis is that it's so hard to find a game. I never even got to play Chaos Crisis as I never found a game. Like, I kid you not, I think I've been waiting for like 500 seconds once. And I only got to play a single game of PvP, which took 3 minutes to find. Which I assume that is all because there is a limited amount of players in the beta. I don't think it's a bug or anything. Now, I also mentioned you fight a ton of bosses and that you can replay them for rewards. That's cool and all, but I do have a problem. The bosses don't feel like Devil May Cry bosses, and I don't mean the redesigns. The redesigns are cool. And I don't know, in normal Devil May Cry, you always want to learn the patterns of a boss, learn how to triple S, no damage them. But here it doesn't feel the same, and the bosses are fun, don't get me wrong, but they don't feel Devil May Cry-esque, if you know what I mean. There are also new bosses exclusive to this game, one who flexes on me with his guns, which I would love to use, and there's definitely gonna be more later on. Like Cerberus is on a cover of a game mode, so I assume he is gonna be in the game later on. So yeah, mostly the game modes are fun, though requests and the slot machines are a bit too simple. Hopefully the online issues are the limited beta players, and the bosses are fun, just feel less like Devil May Cry. And there's a bit of a grind for the gems and orbs, but like I said, they are easy to earn anyway, and most of the modes are entertaining, except the slots, so it don't bother me that much. Now on to the character progression, which I should probably mention. In my opinion, Devil May Cry isn't about like leveling up characters and weapons, only upgrades purchased by red orbs, not a leveling system. And the demons here get stronger, so yeah, you gotta, which isn't like a normal Devil May Cry, but it's a mobile game, so yeah. and the game makes up for it anyway by making the gear and stuff very easy to earn. And it's as simple as it gets. You level up your office, which is the max level cap, then you use the resources you earn while playing to level up your characters and weapons. You can use red orbs to upgrade your skills and abilities, then you can equip cards which work as extra perks. Now the way you earn weapons is also pretty simple. You use your gems to buy summons. One summon costs 250 gems. Then you go to your vault in which you can summon a random character or a weapon. If you get a duplicate character, that duplicate gets transformed into character parts in which you can level up their style, which increases the stat. Weapons are in different rarities. Better rarity means better weapon, duh. And characters are too, but you can upgrade the rarity of the characters so you can play who you like, and each character is even in power. That's basically it. It's really simple. Then there's the music. Not much to say here. It's DMC, so of course the music is great. They got Divine Hate in there, which is one of my favorite DMC themes. I want to say there's a remix of Taste the Blood in there too, so the music is great. Also, the game is a nice looking game for a phone game. I don't have the latest iPhone Pro Max or whatever, so I can't run the game on max graphics, but it still looks really nice. But I think that's about it. Overall, I think the game is very good with enjoyable, really fun gameplay, and a story that's okay. A ton of fun modes and content to keep the player busy. Some stuff I would definitely improve. Add guns, and more variety in requests and slot missions. And for the love of God, improve the gyro blade controls. But overall, I think that the game is really good. So whenever it comes out fully, I think you should give it a shot. If you're a big Devil May Cry fan like me, you will have a good time. But I'm gonna end this video here. Hope you enjoyed my thoughts on the game. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Adios.